Friends, we have been discussing about the various challenges the civil engineering industry is facing, the construction industry is facing. And if you observe the last few days, due to heavy rains in Bangalore and in around various places, lot of catastrophes are happening and a lot of buildings are collapsing, and there is no proper regulation either at the professional level or at the government level. Due to this, there is a heavy loss of human lives, and the similar challenges and problems are there. So, to analyze critically what is happening and what are the ways to control these kind of collapses, we have a good panel of experts here with us today, and I am very happy to welcome Dr. Kalgal. Has got a great experience both in academics and industry, and we have D. Ranganath is an independent consultant, trained and educated outside of India and practicing very ethically in Karnataka. And we have Mr. Srikanth Channel. He is also very, very critical about the lapses and how to mitigate all these disasters. And he is all working in the last few years. He has been dedicated his life towards that, and I welcome Srikanth. And I have a very close friend of mine, Mr. Rajesh Kannan. He has also worked with me as the Secretary General of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, and he is also very critically managing various retrofitting programs, and I welcome Rajesh also. And another very dynamic and differently thinking young person, Mr. Ajit Kumar, presently is the Secretary of KPCEA, and I welcome Ajit also. Sir, this discussion is a very informal discussion, and we have been discussing of late about the problems, how to face these challenges, how to make our society a better place to live. So, in this direction, the last few days observations are very serious, and a lot of loss to the human lives. And in this connection, and also we have been observing that the Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act is in place, and we have to implement the act in as per the objectives of the act itself. And we are very happy that Karnataka government has visited this act. So, in this connection, and how to connect this to a better practices, best practices in construction industry. We'll have some serious discussions today, and for that I request Dr. Kalgal to briefly talk about what is this KPCA is all about, and what it contains in a nutshell, quickly for the benefit of our professional friends.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ashwath. But as most of the people are aware, civil engineers participate in the construction activities, whether it is in building sector or in bridges or infrastructure or water retaining structures, irrigation, etc., etc. But somehow, engineers, civil engineers particularly, are not held in high esteem for the simple reason that there are several collapses, several failures that happen. So, one is recognition of civil engineers, the other one is regulation of civil engineers. How do we ensure this in actual practice? Unfortunately, construction industry has been largely unorganized sector, and hence there was no accountability. Even now there is no accountability for anything that happens. Somehow they get things done. In very large projects, yes, professionals get involved, but the common man's housing is one area where hardly any engineers get involved, or the owners engage any engineers. So to regulate, to recognize, a government tool was required, an act was required. So the team in Bangalore started working along with teams from all over Karnataka to bring in an act called the Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act, so that through this act the government would recognize and regulate the engineering profession, the civil engineering profession. So the government act now says that for all buildings, before the occupation certificate is issued, a professional engineer has to sign and take responsibility for the structure. This is good for the country because the people are assured of professional input. economy is achieved because there is no wastage, and engineers also get good opportunity to serve the society. So this is in nutshell the reason why the Karnataka Professional Engineers Act has been brought in, and now the procedure will start as to how to register the engineers, how to recognize the engineers, and also to regulate the engineers so that they are held accountable. All engineers across the state will come under this act now.
Thank you, Kalgal. Sir, Ranganath sir, now you did your masters in Canada or USA?
US.
Yes, you are US and then came back and started practicing here. And the biggest organization of civil engineering community is the American Society of Civil Engineers. In their vision document, they say civil engineers are the master builders and they should lead all other professions to take the infrastructure or the society forward. And also we know that civil engineering is one of the oldest profession. Now you have been practicing also from as soon as you come back to India, you are independently executing the turnkey projects. So the industry is going on in spite of all these technologies, knowledge, but still buildings are collapsing during the rainy seasons and of late without any reference to in rainy season it is more. When otherwise also some of our places buildings are get damaged due to the negligence or inappropriate supervision and all those things. So now we have KPCEA, Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act. So how do you see that this act will stop these kind of low quality constructions, unsupervised constructions, not properly designed constructions? How do you see the act will help in the profession?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Aswath. See, as you mentioned, I came back and started on my own, initially as a consultant. I was a structural engineer and I practiced for nearly 20 years. During those years, as I designed and started supervising the construction activities, I could see there were a lot of mistakes and a lot of gaps from the designing to the execution part of it. And when I closely observed it, I found that unqualified people are actually executing the works because there is no stricture that only qualified civil engineer should construct. The construction activity is open for everyone, anyone, Tom, Dick, and Harry walking on the street. If they want to, they can just walk in and they may just observe what's happening and they just pick up and they start doing it. Unfortunately, civil engineering, which is called as mother of all engineering, is the most important field which is affecting the life of every human. You think of anything, the house where you live, the water, what is coming into your house, the wastewater that is going out. And as you walk out, you see the roads, the highways. You see anything around you, everything has a golden touch of a civil engineer's work. Without civil engineer, none of these can take existence and you cannot be enjoying. So, but unfortunately, since there was no regulation or since there was no restriction that only qualified people should be doing these works, others, whom we call as quacks, who are not qualified to do that particular activity, they got into the list. And you might know, civil engineering field is contributing to nearly 24% of the GDP for the country's economy. That is next only to agriculture. And that is a kind of contribution that is being done in civil engineering field. Without regulation, without having a control, without taking care to see that only qualified people do such works, without that, you are seeing a contribution of nearly 24%. You can see the kind of contribution that the field can make. So here, what happened was, we from the Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, we felt that unless our field is regulated properly, you cannot expect the best of quality work from anybody. And it is just common sense. If you just think about it, you can realize what it is. Hence, what we thought was it is better the country has a act for regulating anything. It is only can be done only through an act that is passed either in the parliament at the country level or in the assembly at the state level. So initially, we decided to go to the center and try to get a bill passed for the engineers. Unfortunately, because of non-cooperation, because of disinterest, and because of some arrogant groups thinking that, look here, only when we are there, you don't need a bill, such kind of things. However much we tried to convince, the government just kept it aside. Then, in the Bangalore Center of the Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, few of us got together and we said, at least at the state level, we should do it. But we learned something from the national level, wherein getting together and talking with a single voice and having the entire community of civil engineers across Karnataka on a single platform and having a single voice talking to the government, we were sure, by experience, we thought that is the best way of going about it. That's how this Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act Steering Consortium was formed. This is a platform which has all the associations of civil engineers across Karnataka and also the institutions, educational institutions, and all the civil engineering professionals who are interested, even those people, vendors who are interested in the field, they want to contribute. They became members of this particular platform.
They did.
Here, what happened was, it was a single voice with which the entire community was talking. There was no confusions, and the government was surprised. And for your information, the whole thing was done in a year's time. We ourselves were surprised. In fact, even the government was surprised because no act has been done with such a speed. That because of the unity amongst the civil engineers. Now, we are happy that the act has now been passed, and it's in the process of a council being formed and rules and regulations being created. You are asking, how will it help? One of the main conditions that the act has said is, no civil engineering work in Karnataka can be executed by anyone other than a qualified civil engineer. Okay, that's a big step. So here we see today there is a lot of unemployment. Some of the colleges are deciding to close down their civil engineering department because there is no work for civil engineers. Why was there no work for the civil engineers? Mainly because nearly 60 to 70% of the civil engineering industry was occupied by quacks, non-civil engineers, because there was so much money in the construction industry, and all the money were being looted by people who had no inkling about the profession, but they were eating away all of those things. Hence, the actual qualified civil engineers who could not get into that particular thing, they missed out. Now what happens? None of those quacks are going to be allowed to practice. It has to be a civil engineer. Now there's going to be more opportunity for civil engineers.
Okay, I will come back to you, Dr. Rangnath. Now I will get into the key person of the consortium, the president of Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act Consortium, Mr. Srikanth Channa. In fact, one quality I've observed in Srikanth is the kind of perseverance he has got. Anything he takes up, he will not leave until it sees some light. So he has been working. In fact, I remember when I was the president of SCCE, He was the chairman for issues and advocacies of things. And we also formed a task force at the national level, and there was a good response for that. In fact, more than 1,000 members enrolled within a short period of 10-15 days. And from then on, a lot of work has been done. Now, all of us know that the whole country is trying to get the engineers bill in place, but it is taking a lot of time. So with that, Karnataka has taken lead, and the Professional Civil Engineers Act was passed at the state level, and now he is heading the consortium. Srikanth, I've seen that you have been, you are from North Karnataka, you came to Bangalore, you have settled. Your language itself is very interesting when you talk to people. That connect will happen automatically when you speak in Kannada. So you have been executing the turnkey projects, you are building apartments. And my interest is this apartment building. It is not considered as a civil engineering activity. It is considered as a commercial activity anybody can do. People come, buy a 40-60 site, build 7 to 8 flats. Sometimes, depending on the greediness of the owner, they will add on 2-3 additional floors. And recently, the collapse of a building which was designed for the 3 or 4 floors and built about 7 floors. So, why this kind of things are happening? Is there the authorities like BBMP over controls the construction activity, whether they are not doing any serious activity, or with all that this is going on, and you have done some surveys of collapses both in Bangalore and outside Bangalore. With your experience, can you suggest how to stop all this, and how this KPCEA Act, Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act, will put a full stop for these kind of activities in building industry?
Thank you, sir. In fact, it is the difficulty that I faced when I started my career in Bangalore was the initiation to learn more about what is professionalism and why we are unable to perform in the society or in the industry, in the construction. And this what you said, that perseverance, it is not the perseverance, it is the experience that our profession was suppressing, and personally I was suffering, that lead to take all these ways or paths, whatever you call it. And your task force during your term, when you started as a president, that was the it is adding a fuel to the already burning issue in my mind. So that instigated me, and your support and the senior supports made us to learn more and more about it. And we gathered so much of information by conducting this webinars during the COVID period, and some of the building collapses that happened. All these things contributed, and all our works, our team members worked hard and moved all along Karnataka, district places, taluka places, colleges, many places, and we could able to gather the support, and we could able to achieve it. Now, coming back to your main question of how it is going to stop. Yes. See, there are basically two sectors which I can foresee immediately. One is the government sector, another one is the private sector. See, in the government sector, there are certain problems. In private sector, there are certain problems. Government sector, the problem is the whole system, which has come from very long ago, has got a mixed professionals in the system. So different professionals are doing the same work. That is the civil engineering or the construction being done by differently, with different qualifications, like civil, mechanical, electrical, and things like that. It is not their fault, but the system should have been rectified then and there itself, which has not happened so far. That is problem number one. Number two, when we talk about any profession, like say whether it is a lawyer or a doctor or a dental doctor or nursing or this thing, the area of their specialization will be restricted. And if you talk about the medical profession, a heart specialist will be dealing only with the heart. A eye specialist will be dealing only with the eye. Skin specialist will do only his job. So similarly, in civil engineering, there are many fields. So one is, for example, highway engineering, railway engineering, then we call building construction, then comes airport engineering, then structural engineering, geotechnical engineering. There are many specializations. So when I talk about the government system, how it is, there is no such specializations available in the government stream itself. So anybody can go anywhere, wherever they are comfortable. So comfortable in the sense not for the this particular profession is concerned. Maybe there are different things which anybody can imagine about it. So this technical professionalism, comfort, and specialization is totally collapsed in the government system. That is problem number one, which the Act is going to rectify. In the sense, everybody needs to first of all have the other professionals, kept away from this construction industry. That is point number one. Number two, in the private sector, when we come, there are many unqualified, when quacks, as our predecessor told, quacks have entered into this field for one or the other reason, and the really qualified people are thrown out. And that also the Act is going to put a ban. See, when we talk about this Act, we should not leave the NBC. The NBC is directly linked to our Act. What the NBC says is, once the owner applies for the building plan sanction, so far what we call it is a plan sanction, but henceforth it is going to be called as a building permit. Why I am going to tell you is, the building permit as per the NBC is not only the simple plan. It should involve the constructor, it should involve the structural engineer, it should involve the geotechnical engineer. Right from the beginning, the owner has to take the engagement certificates from these consultants and enclose as the part of the application that these are the professionals who are going to be part of my building. So then only the sanctioning process and other things will be started. This is point number one. Then once the building is completed, the same professionals need to give the certification that as per the approved plan, as per the approved structural drawings, as per the approved geotechnical investigations and the available codes, the things have been executed here, and I stand certified. I stand by my profession. So that kind of completion certificate also to be given by the individual professions, including the constructor. What they call in the NBC is the constructor. Constructor is again a qualified person. So whole building will be constructed with the qualified professionals. So which are the professionals that those are going to be part of this depends on the size of the building, height of the building, and things like that, which NBC has clearly mentioned. So these are, in a script, what I can say is going to stop all the
Unethical practices.
unethical practices. It is going to stop.
Okay.
So this is what I can.
Thank you, Srikanth. I will come back to you again to discuss more about the Act. Now we have our Rajesh Kannan, who is in the business of retrofitting and rehabilitation. If buildings fail, if the buildings get distressed, your business will improve. So how do you think this Act, KPCEA Act, will stop retrofitting jobs and restoration jobs? Is it good for the society, or how do you see the Act and your profession? And you can also highlight on, you are also the Secretary General of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, and we have been giving a lot of thrust for the youngsters, the fresh engineers to learn more and adapt best practices and in the industry. So all that the doctor, if there is no patient, doctor is jobless. That doesn't mean that doctor supports the patients. His objective is to see a healthy society. Similarly, your profession, the retrofitting, definitely you will be happy when there are no buildings, building collapses. So in that direction, what you want to highlight about the Act?
Yeah, thank you. See, My background is from the retrofitting of structure, and as well as I'm dealing with the deep excavation production system. Uh, the retrofit means what? It is actually when there is a distress in the structure, particularly old structure. This retrofitting happening last 40, 50 years when the structure is 100 years back built. And it has been, and in India, the latest technologies and all quite adopted last 20, 25 years back, whereas in abroad, the technology which has been adopted, for example, carbon fiber wrapping and all, it was some 40, 50 years old fundamental, which we brought it now and doing it. Okay, it is actually the retrofitting was meant for the existing structure, and then there are so many devices have been designed and then executed, and we are adopting that. But unfortunately, now what happened is the retrofitting is required in the new structure. Okay, that is the issue what we are talking about. Now, how it is linked with the KPCEA and this retrofitting. Okay, in the new structure, the unprofessionalism because of that, that is tend to lead to a wave of retrofitting method. If there is a professionalism involved right from the beginning, the conceptualized stage to the execution and then handing over stage, then there is no retrofitting going to happen. But any structure has its own life. Okay, so after 30, 40 years, it requires a maintenance. For that, any kind of retrofitting, the retrofitting business is not going to be affected. Okay, but what we are talking about is the new structures, how the what we are talking about retrofitting is life enhancement. Here, when the life is very short, when the during construction it will collapse, then we have to see what is happening. So I think as you heard from other seniors, the way forward how it is to be. First of all, we should bring professionalism into our engineering. Okay. Now, when you compare this our profession with advocates or doctors or something like that, there is a regulation they are following. For example, I will just highlight a nurse profession. What a nurse used to do. She will check blood pressure, or she will put an IV for you, you will put an injection. So this, but that nobody can just enter into that and do it because they have certain regulation. A non-nurse cannot go into that profession and do it. But unfortunately, in our case, even though we call it ourselves, that second biggest industry after agriculture, and we don't have regulation, it is very pathetic. And so many years this has been passed. So now, since the Karnataka, some people have taken initiative on that, and then brought this act in a very short spell of time next to Gujarat. Gujarat is there, but how it is functioning, we don't know. But in Karnataka, this will be implemented in a right direction, and then we want to bring a good professional civil engineers into practice. And many people are, having some amount of doubt whether it is pertaining only to the structural engineer or what. It is not only for the structure and this act. This act is going to control all the civil engineers basically. As he pointed out, various sector of the civil engineer, like geotechnical engineer, like highway engineers. So all the engineers will be controlled under this act. Okay. Anybody want to practice civil engineering, they have to come under this code, they have to register, and then they have to practice. So that is why this act is going to bring more professionalism into this civil engineering fraternity, and that will going to help in future so that we can have a very sustainable and stable structure in the years ahead.
Yeah, good, Rajesh. You have clearly sent out signals that the existing professions, whatever we are practicing, whether it is structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, or retrofitting, it will continue, but there will be more professionalism coming into the place, and better structures, better practices will be in place because of this act. Now, we have Ajit Kumar, a very dynamic person. He talks very aggressively in different forums, and he's also into retrofitting sometimes, and structural repairs, and also he is now ventured into new business, green building, sustainable building materials. So the act normally people have a concept that the act will affect so many professions. So act will not affect any profession. It will bring in some good practices to every field. And now you have started a new business. And what is your view about KPCA Act as the Secretary General of the Consortium Act?
Yeah, it was the need of the hour, which was desperately looking, to regulate civil engineering profession in the state as well as in the country. Because as our senior just mentioned that without civil engineering, we can't think of a life. And we are highest contributor to the GDP and highest employment generated. Since it was not regulated, lot of havoc was there in the industry, which was creating not only affecting the sustainable development, it is also creating the building non-safe structures. We have very clearly defined NBC guidelines, which are not even implemented in our town bylaws. That is creating a lot of problem. And during our process, we have done a survey and we found that more than 95% of the buildings are violated. One of other form of violation was happening. So considering all these problems, there was no sustainable development, and civil engineers are the custodians of the durability, sustainability, and eco-friendly construction practices, which was not happening. So it was badly needed, and we initiated this process, and we have achieved it. Now this regulation, this KPCEA brings a lot of responsibility in the civil engineering fraternity to address that responsibility and to practice professionalism and ethics in which is needed, because we are also contributing to the GDP and also the durable and safe living of the society. So keeping that in mind, a regulation was very badly required. And also when you talk about sustainability, that is also required now. Construction industry, there is a huge number of money is inflow from the government as well as private sector, and a lot of construction activities happening in the form of housing sector, the infrastructure. So a lot of natural resources are used, wherein that is affecting the green cover in the environment, and also it is creating a lot of climate change. Because if you take 1 ton of cement, if you are using to manufacture 1 ton of cement, we are emitting 1 ton of carbon into the atmosphere. And steel 1 ton to produce 1 ton of 1.5 ton of carbon emission is happening in the environment. So now it is our duty to see the alternate building material and technologies to address this climate change. And for that, we have to do a lot of research work, which is totally neglected in our industry. A lot of emphasis has to be given on the research to find alternate building material and technology to address this. To support this thought process of sustainable development and research, I have ventured into a new manufacturing division, wherein I am trying to convert the industrial residuals. People call it a waste, but I call it as an industrial residue, which can be used as the raw material to manufacture the different kinds of precast building products. That's how we can consume a lot of the industrial residuals, and by consuming that industrial residuals, we are saving a lot of natural resources. So that was the one thought process. And end of the day, now skilled manpower is the biggest challenge and issues, and that is also contributing a lot of the poor quality of work, which is sometimes leading to the disasters. To address that, upgrading the skill is a Herculean task. But one more alternate solution we can find is that precast technology. Bring that precast technology to normal construction, home construction also, wherein we can, all the end of the day, I have a concept of, a common man should come with his plan to my factory, and all the elements of his starting from the footing, foundation, column, beam, slab, everything it should be manufactured in the factory and brought it to the site and assembled it.
You will give ready-made homes.
Ready-made, not home, all the precast, like we manufacture parts of all the ready-made home. To make ready-made home, all the parts will be manufactured at factory and brought and assembled at the site, and only finishing activity has to happen at the site. This will save a lot of manpower, lot of resource wastage, and also quality will be better. So
Okay.
that is, and we are using industrial residuals to manufacture these elements, which will reduce a lot of load on the natural resources. That is with that thought process I ventured into this.
Okay, thank you, Ajit. Sir, listening to all of you, what I can consolidate or conclude is the profession will bring in lot of changes in the mindset of the people. The professionals, civil engineers, whoever, all the stakeholders involved in the construction industry, they have to think twice before doing anything. So that kind of stick will there with the act. The non-ethical practices will go, quacks will go. Only the known people, qualified people, skilled people will come into the industry, and they will build good infrastructure. And I've seen Kalgal, I've seen Rajesh, all of you. In fact, we have been working for this act all day and night. And in the coming days, you will have more responsibility to tune the construction industry, the construction professionals in the right direction. For that, there is lot of skill development required, lot of training to the engineers is required, both professional engineers and the workforce, starting from the laborers to the maestries, carpenters. Lot of training is required. So when everybody is trained, when everybody is skilled, you are mentioning about the nursing profession. Only a trained nurse can do the job. Similarly, in the industry, a trained mason, a trained carpenter can only do a right job. So this activities, the huge activities are there. The industry will see lot of demand for all the professionals, the qualified professionals, skill development professionals, and especially the youngsters, the student community. Since you're from the academics and then in the industry. So the student community, the teaching community, the academia has to gear up the up to the mark and give proper training. And once they get into the practice, they cannot go on with their known knowledge. They have to update their knowledge. For that, you need lot of knowledge centers, training centers, finishing schools. Lot of these things are required, and I'm sure all of you must have thought of this requirement and make the infrastructure ready for that. Kalgal, few quickly, I'll give 1 minute to each one of you. Quickly give your concluding remarks about the Act and the impact of the Act on the society.
Yeah, to tell in short, we are looking at professionals to handle the issue. So, what is it that a professional is supposed to do? Professional person should have honesty, integrity, commitment towards his job, and the final goal is to deliver a safe and comfortable home to the society, which means ultimately the aim is to serve the society. So for that, this act will bring in the regulations from one side. We have to change the mindset of the consumers to make use of the professionals, change the mindset of the professionals to deliver these four things which I said. I think put together to deliver the best, he should be continuously updating himself. So all that put together, I am sure will result in a much safer environment, more sustainable environment, and a happy situation for consumers as well as professionals.
Okay, thank you. Rangnath, your
Yeah.
views.
Actually, you were mentioning about skill development. The Act has a provision for that. The Act says the Council is going to take on the responsibility of creating skill development centers. And they will ensure that there's going to be a continuous learning program for the members. And there are going to be certain systems that are going to be developed from which all these activities are going to be inculcated in various persons, I should say. I would say the working laborers who can be skilled, their skills are going to be developed, and that certified laborers in future are going to be the workers who are going to give quality products. And that's how sustainability is going to be practiced in future.
Thank you, Rangnath. You always keep talking about the National Building Code. So in National Building Code, I have observed there are 38 departments connected to civil engineering. CED is 38. It covers everything, starting from planning till the maintenance, the services, the fire, everything is covered in that. So if one goes through, implement the complete provisions, the knowledge which is there in the National Building Code, everything is taken care. So the Act, whether the Act will insist to follow the NBC in toto, or we need to do something else to adapt all the provisions of the NBC. And what is your final remarks?
Sir, building is concerned, NBC covers everything, but there are certain things which local authorities have to adopt, based on their geographical features and socio-economic features, like say FAR, setbacks, and things like that will be set by the local authorities. Whereas the construction technology, their other applications are concerned with the profession will be set by the NBC. NBC is like a Bible for construction industry. So, in a nutshell, this ethics will be controlled by our Act. Then this engineering principles will be controlled by the NBC, And when the NBC and our act are going together, the whole construction is going to be get cleaned up, and a good outcome can be anticipated in the forthcoming years.
Thank you. Rajesh, I very clearly remember you came into ACC Secretary General's shoes when there was an issue connected to these professionalism. And the whole purpose of any profession is the professional should handle it professionally, the way, professional way. Then everything will be all right. If non-professional come in, then it will not be in the right spirit. So when we say the uneducated people or unethical practices come into the profession, then the whole industry will be destroyed. So to stop that, there was a remark made that unqualified people are quacks. They should not do their business just for the commercial purpose. So with that background, how do you say this act, KPCEA Act, will stop all the quacks coming into the any profession for that matter?
Yeah. See, we are all longing for this engineers bill long time on the national level, but it was not at all materializing, and a lot of efforts been still on. But I always, say one thing. You think globally and act locally. Okay, what it means? Maybe the engineers bill will come in future. That is a global aspects which we are looking for, and you act locally. Now we brought this act in Karnataka. So let us first formulate the things and discipline the things in Karnataka. And this will be a role model for the other states to follow, and automatically we are hearing the other states started following, okay, doing the process of bringing the act. Okay, and finally, once this 10 or 15 states starts doing that, then engineers bill is going to be a must in India. Okay, once that comes, I think the whole profession is going to be regulated, and then that discipline will be there in each civil engineering profession. Also, no quacks can dare to enter. Okay, and I think that is the final agenda of this.
Okay, thank you, Rajesh. Ajit, now you have a lot of things on the plate to take. How do you manage taking the consortium forward as a Secretary General?
Yes, sir. We have a big responsibility to play, and as a consortium, all the institutions and the local associations are going to be a part of our team. So that is going to give me a lot of power to reach out to the every district level and every taluka level. So what we are thinking is that the skill development is the immediate requirement, and also making a act awareness program, which is and we want to use this all local association institutions as our volunteers to connect with the society and also connect with the local government. So that's how we want to take it forward. And now as a consortium, we want to create a lot of skill development activities also, which in turn will use the concept of train the trainer, who will go and reach out to the people in the society to train, because it's always civil engineering is always a teamwork, and starting from the engineer to the mason to the coolie, everybody have their role to play, and we have to skill everybody. So by training the trainer, we'll create volunteers in the local district level and taluk level, wherein they'll take the responsibility further and train the local team there. And also connect between the academy and the association will definitely help them. Like we have a industry academy outreach, wherein we can give our practicing engineer a platform for the internship program to the students, where they get connected with the industrial people, and they'll also get an exposure to the new technologies, new building material, and also the whatever the industry's practices are there will get exposure. They will be able to perform better when they come to industry and prove their
Thank you,
well-being.
thank you, Ajit. I would like to thank all of you for taking your time off and discussing and throwing some light on KPCA Act, what it is, and the way forward. Friends, in civil engineering, as all of us say and agree that it is one of the oldest profession, similarly we have many challenges and issues connected to the profession, connected to the society. All that needs lot of deliberations, brainstorming, and solutions to make a better place to live in. And recently, in one of the major program, Engineer Sridharan, we call it as Metro Man, he also mentions that civil engineering is getting degraded day by day. To improve the professional ethics, to improve the integrity, to improve the brand of civil engineering, overall, as American Society of Civil Engineers mentions, to as a nation builders, civil engineers have got a major role to play, and these kind of professional acts will definitely help to bring the regulations to the profession. It is not just supporting the professionals, but it is also very important to regulate by means of, if somebody does a mistake, there should be a proper punishment. So the Act contains the lifelong learning, the Act contains best practices implementation, the Act contains the punishments for the wrongdoers and encouragement for the new professions, new challenges. So I'm very happy that the Karnataka Professional Civil Engineers Act is in place, and in the coming days we will bring in more and more information about the Act, the way it is implemented, how the registration process has to be done, how the roles and responsibilities of civil engineers, all the stakeholders in the construction industry. And I'm very happy that today we have taken some small steps to educate the civil engineering profession what the Act is all about. And in the days to come, there will be more and more episodes on training the professional people at all stages, starting from the labor force to the main project heads. For the time being, thank you very much, and I thank all of you for making time. This is a very unscheduled program. In spite of that, you gave a time to explain the KPCA Act to the people. ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಮೂಲೆ ಮೂಲೆಗಳಿಗೂ ಹೋಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಹಿತಿನ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಎಜುಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಸಸ್ ಇಲ್ದಂಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ನ ಕಟ್ಟೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುವು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೇನು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ಹಾಕಬೇಕು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಲಿ, ಸುಗಮವಾಗಿ ನಡೀಲಿ ಅಂತ ವಿಶ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ, ಐ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ all of you on behalf of all the professionals in the construction industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.